Welcome to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. I'm your host, Fabian motherfucking Ojeda, and I don't know shit, but that's okay. All right, let's get this shit started. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. Hope you all enjoyed episode number 41 with Tori of the Chicana Chisme podcast. Definitely had a lot of fun there. Talking about the Selena show, the movie, and talking a little bit about why she was the icon that she was. We're back now with a brand new episode number 42, and we have a brand new guest. I want to welcome to the show, Taylor Ashley Ragano. How you doing, Taylor?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Did I say that right? Your last name?
You did. Yeah, I was impressed. Good. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Definitely. And, you're somebody I wanted to talk to you because, I noticed you had a lot going on, and a lot of people, this past year, 2020, is kind of like the year from hell, right? And I'm sure you had your share of that as well, but you did have like a lot of noteworthy things going on, right?
Yeah, actually, 2020 wasn't, it was horrible, yes, but like I actually had some like preoccupied with some great advances in my education and my career. I landed 2 internships on Capitol Hill, one in the summer and one in the fall. I got published by Front News of Fox and Daily Mail and international media groups like in Vietnam and the UK. So I guess my weight loss success story got international news headlines. So yeah, I mean, for the most part, I've had to deal with things with COVID, not so great, but I did have a good amount of opportunity happen this past year.
Nice. Yeah. And, I think the people that listen to the podcast will definitely, I'm sure they'll get a lot out of your story because weight loss is something a lot of people struggle with, and it's a significant part of people's lives, right? And you, from what I saw, you dropped a lot of weight, right?
I did. I lost 100 pounds 7.5 years ago. Mm-hmm. For the most part, I've kept it off. I'm not as at 117 like I was when I initially, but like gained like 5-10 pounds on and off. But for the most part, I've kept the weight down and been able to keep up with a healthy lifestyle. And, it definitely, like, weight loss surgery was a successful tool for me. And what I can't advocate enough about weight loss surgery is that it's not a cure, because a lot of people do end up gaining the weight back. Mm-hmm. It does not cure obesity, but it is a useful tool. And so I've just been exercising it as, not allowing myself to overeat because I physically can't, but, I'm not letting myself, my stomach stretch back out, and so, and I try to exercise and eat healthy. So just live a overall healthy lifestyle.
Okay. And I think, I've had people on the podcast before talk about, weight loss and health. And I think the one thing, and you just mentioned it right now, that's a little different about this story is you mentioned, the weight loss surgery. And that's something that I haven't explored. I haven't really, dug deep into. But I think, that goes for a lot of the people listening too. They probably don't know much about it, and I wanted to kind of get a feel for like how, like what the process is for that, to a lot of people, it's an option, but it's an option they don't want to take, and there's some, there's some stigma behind that as well. But before we get there, I just kind of wanted to tell you a little bit of about your history and backstory as far as, struggle with weight goes. How long did you struggle with weight before, you decided to make a change?
Well, so a little bit about my story is it kind of starts off, I have several disabilities. So I struggled in school a lot, and academically I was bullied, kind of did fit in. I almost failed out my senior year, and that just kind of led to me after I graduate. Just I was unmotivated, and I ended up gaining 100 pounds after like 3 years after I graduated.
Mm,
And so I tried losing the weight on my own through Atkins diet, and I did lose 50 pounds, but I gained it all back.
mm,
So I struggled with like weight for about like 2 to 4 years on and off, fluctuating like 50 pounds,
mm,
100 to 50 pounds. So um, yeah, it just became a issue that diet alone, like and exercise, I was unable to do so. I mean, I had hypothyroid disorder, which made it
mm.
really impossible to lose weight, and I tried, but I had other health problems as well that I knew I had to take care of, or things would start getting for the worse.
Hmm. And you mentioned this was like after high school where you experienced like a significant amount of weight being put on. So that's like kind of where the struggle started.
Yeah, I'd say like around like 20, I started like gradually gaining 100 pounds, and
Hmm.
then I lost 50 of it within like a year and a half, and then I gained it all back, if not more. And
Hmm.
yeah, and the course span between like 20 to 23 and a half.
Okay. So I mean, it was a pretty quick turnaround there, then, right?
Yeah.
Um, so like what besides the physical part of it, what kind of struggles or challenges did you experience with that weight gain?
So I was pre-diabetic, and I would have tingling in my hands and feet, starting to show symptoms. And I had to get cortisone shots in my feet because the weight was so heavy on me, and I was a host, so I'd be walking all over the place.
Hmm.
And my thyroid, like I don't have hypothyroid anymore, so I think that got brought on because of my weight. And it was just, I had like really little to no energy, like walking and like doing physical exercise was like really like tolling on me. So I just knew I had to do something about it. And that what really got me was when they're like, the doctor's like, you're pre-diabetic, you're almost like, if you don't change, you're going to become diabetic. And I just was like, I can't believe like I let myself get to the stage where I'm at now. So that's when there was this girl at my work who was thin, and she's actually pregnant, but she told me like I was like talking to her about wanting to lose weight, and she said she had weight loss surgery and she was so thin, and she told me so much about it, and that's when I started looking into it.
Okay. Um, Now, as far as like anything else that you may have tried before considering weight loss surgery, did you you mentioned doing the Atkins diet or any sort of like like other like maybe crash diets, or did you try to work out like crazy or anything like that?
I mostly just tried I tried Weight Watchers in the past, which I'm willing to give it another shot now, because I think that's a really good maintenance lifestyle. But I think at the time, like this was like 10 years ago, so it was kind of a different ballgame back then. Um, and then uh, I've tried, there's the South Beach diet. I got like a book on that, and like yeah, I've tried almost all the diets, but um, yeah, I just couldn't. It just wasn't working with
Mhm.
starting having to develop hypothyroidism. It just made it so like it was impossible to lose weight.
Mhm. Okay. Now, when you first heard of or when you talked to your coworker and you saw the success that she had with that, right? How did you first go about, the process of getting weight loss surgery? How did it start?
It's actually a long process. It's not an easy pathway to get the surgery. You have to do a lot of things to qualify. I just, I looked at my insurance, and I looked up weight loss surgery clinics, and I chose North Point Surgical in Fair Oaks Hospital, and they are great, amazing surgeons. But to qualify, you have to go through counseling. You have to get certified, like get an okay from the therapist. You have to get an okay from the family doctor. You have to lose like at least 20 pounds before the surgery.
Wow.
And you have to go on a liquid diet before the surgery. And like you have to show to prove that you tried losing it on your own. So it was like a 3-month process just to prepare. And yeah, so those were kind of the steps that you had to take prior to surgery. So it's not as easy as like people think, oh, I want the surgery. Just like you have to qualify and go through a lot of steps in order to get the okay from the doctor. Like, yeah.
Now, they're not just handing them out, right? Which is
Yeah,
probably
no.
like a misconception a lot of people have, right?
Right. Yeah. It's not like just as easy as, oh, I won't wait. Like, no, there's like a lot that you have to do in order to qualify, and even people struggle with losing those 20 pounds prior to surgery, because it's easier for the surgeon to lose, to do the surgery when you're a little lighter, so it's less complications. And so sometimes like patients can't even do, like if you're a smoker, you don't qualify for the surgery.
Oh wow.
So like there's just things that like I had to like get the surgeon, he has to be like, are you okay with not eating cake that often or not drinking as much after the surgery? Like I had to like go through a lot of like, your life is going to change, and are you okay with these changes?
Yeah. I actually I'm overweight myself, and I've kind of always been I've had my moments where I was like like high school wrestler where I was okay, I'm all right, I'm in decent shape, but for the most part in my life I've always been overweight. And as as an adult getting older, I remember going to the doctor just for a regular checkup, and it was a new doctor, and that was just one of the things he threw out right away, and it kind of hit me in the face, like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, you're like a prime candidate for like for like a weight loss surgery. I'm like, nah, man. I was looking at him like, that's just kind of like, I was almost insulted by it, which, I mean, he's a doctor, he knows best, but like it was like the first thing he told me, like, yeah, you probably want to try weight loss surgery. I'm like, but there's a lot of like I said, there's a stigma about it, right? People don't want to go through that. Did you experience that when talking to maybe friends or family about wanting to get weight loss surgery?
Yeah, well, to go back also to have the weight loss surgery, at least in Virginia, I don't know other states, you have to be a minimum of at least 100 pounds overweight or have a pre-existing condition such as high blood pressure or sleep apnea to get it if you're less than 100 pounds. So not anyone, hey, I want to lose 50 pounds, let's get weight loss surgery. Like insurance isn't going to cover that. So, but going back to your question, you said like, how did people react to my surgery?
Yeah, like even just you talking about it, like even contemplating it.
My mom wasn't that supportive about it because she thought she was just so worried because she thought it was super dangerous having the surgery, and like you know people do have problems in the long run after surgery, like because we don't eat as much, so we have vitamin deficiencies and stuff later on in life. But just the surgery itself, like she was just so scared, and I don't know, she thought I could have done it on my own. But at the end of the day, looking back on it, she is like glad I did it because it actually ended up working. And yeah, I don't know. I had one person in particular, a family friend that was like, she had the surgery, and so she was kind of there with me throughout the process. And I talked to her a lot about like what's it like. And given my age, I was 23 when I had it, and nowadays, like this was 7.5 years ago, like more young people are having the surgery. But like when I had it, like people were shocked at how young I was. But I honestly think it's better to have it while you're younger versus when you're older, because like you just have better, like I don't have any loose skin really, because of my elasticity in my skin and stuff. And I just it's just is better in the long run, like to get rid of it when you're younger, so that way you can start doing the health habits earlier in life versus end up getting diabetes or other health problems along the way.
Right. Now, my whole thing with the podcast is I like learning about these things because I'm ignorant about them. I don't know anything about it, right? And the more I talk to people like you who have experienced certain things, it just adds to to my knowledge of things that I didn't know before. Now, when talking about the weight loss surgery, I think there's like the sleeve, right, or like the lap band, or what exactly, like what procedure did you get?
I got the bypass, gastric
Okay.
bypass, which in my opinion is the best one out there because I think it's the most effective. And like the thing with like the sleeve is like you people do end up getting heartburn issues later on in life due to that. And I don't know, I've just seen more success story with the bypass. And basically, the bypass it's called that because they reroute your intestines and shrink your stomach. Like my stomach's the size of an egg, and I do deal with some issues because of that with bypass. We get this thing called dumping syndrome, and it's pretty awful. So I don't really eat sweets anymore. And
Mm.
it's not because I don't like them, or it's because when I eat them, I get really like nauseous and I feel like I need to lay down and I just feel like I'm gonna like pass out. It's just a horrible feeling. My stomach hurts really bad. And that's because it's called dumping because it like dumps the sugar right into your short intestines or I think or something like that. I don't know the whole science behind it, but
Hmm.
um so I've almost developed like an allergy to sweets. I'll eat it, and if I do eat sweets, only like 2 or 3 bites of it, and that's
Hmm.
it. So, but I no longer want to go out and get ice cream, like or drink milkshakes, like 'cause whenever I just get sick all the time. So it's kind of like a
Hmm.
blessing in disguise. Like I don't eat sweets because, and that's probably how I've kept the weight off. At the same time, though, I do like miss being able to eat a whole cupcake,
Right,
and
right.
um, but and that's just like another thing. And also like that happens sometimes with like really greasy food too. Um,
Hmm.
you can't really eat like really greasy, high in sugar food or you will get dumping and it really is the worst.
Ooh, okay. Now I'm like, I'll take note just in case I ever go that route. Now, is
Yeah.
it the same thing as I've also heard it referred to as like bariatric surgery. Is that the same
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
That's like an umbrella term. So pediatric surgery covers like lap band. There, I forget all of them. Yeah, lap band, the sleeve, gastric bypass. There's several out there.
Hmm. Did you like have any like trepidation going into it, like where it's like you were maybe a little bit like afraid because I know nowadays it's like a lot safer. I think there's been enough advances in it where it's not as much of a risk. But I remember, when this first started to get more popular. I don't want to use the word popular like it's, but when it started to become more prevalent, right? Um, there was always like a huge risk of like dying uh in the middle of the surgery. I think it was like almost like a 50-50 type of thing, right? I'm talking about maybe 15 years ago or something like that when it used to be in the news, right? Did you have that fear going into this procedure?
Not really. It was like I want to say nowadays it's like 1%. I don't know. It was like less than 5%. I want to say. I don't quote me on that,
Hmm.
but like my mom was, but I wasn't really scared about it because, um, like so many like patients success stories. Um, it's so rare to like die in the middle of the surgery. I feel like nowadays.
Hmm.
But definitely don't be quoting me on any of this because I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know
no, for sure.
stats or anything. But like I was never really worried about it. My surgeon I really trusted, and he was one of the best in the practice. And he did an amazing job. There was some complications after, like I ended up getting C. diff, which is like a horrible like stomach, like it's like the flu for your stomach, but
Mm.
I had to be quarantined for like 3 days at the
Okay.
ER. But and then I did get a staple stuck in my throat, in my esophagus.
Oh.
But it wasn't that bad. Like it was small invasive surgery that they had to remove it. But other than that, I haven't dealt with really any major complications.
Hmm.
But yeah, I feel like nowadays, like it's very rare when there's like someone dies like on the table
Mhm.
during that.
Right. Yeah, and they probably have some other thing going on with them if they do, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Now, let's look at like time frame, right? From day one where you show interest in it and you talk to your doctor, like, hey, this might be something I want to do, to the time you actually get the procedure. I know you mentioned there's a lot of counseling that goes into it and whatnot, but how long would you say that wait time is?
Um, I'd say it's like at least like 30 to 60 days.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's fairly quick, right?
Yeah. It's,
Mhm.
yeah, at least like a month. It's usually longer than a month, but I know different practice may have different things, but it took me
Mhm.
like 3 months. So,
Okay. Now the procedure itself, right? Is it one of those things where you're in and out, or you have to stay in the hospital for a little bit, or what does that look like?
no, so after the surgery, I was in the hospital for about like a week, I'd say, and it was pretty awful, the recovery. Like,
Mm.
um, they made you walk every couple of times a day around the hospital,
Mm.
um, to just so that way you get your stomach muscles going. And I would say for about a month, I was like on pain medication and bedridden for at least like 2 weeks. And it's definitely like I owe my mom a lot because she really helped me in the recovery process. And
Mm.
luckily, I didn't like really have a job or anything. So you definitely, if you're having the surgery, you need to at least make sure like you have like a good 2 weeks off and like you have someone to help you, or because just getting out of bed, like it's just crazy the amount of muscles your stomach has of like just rising up, sitting up to get up
Hmm.
out of bed. And that was like the worst pain ever. Just like,
Wow.
yeah, I remember my mom, I was so heavy. She couldn't help, sit me up because I was still like 220 pounds. And my mom's like the small 5'2" woman. And we had to
Mhm.
get like a steel ladder for me to like help climb up. So, um, yeah, because yeah, the recovery was not fun.
Mhm. So then anybody considering that should definitely put some thought into how they're gonna recover, and who's gonna help them. Now, in terms of results, right? Um, when did you start noticing? Like, how quickly do you start noticing significant like weight loss, or is it super steady where you don't notice it as much, or how does that work?
Um, it came off like at first, I say within the first month, I lost like 20 pounds, and like every month I like lost 10 pounds. It took me like a year and a half to drop
Mhm.
to lose 100 pounds. So it was kind of a continuous, like fast, not super fast, but I was losing an average of 8 to 10 pounds a month.
Mm.
So, um, I dropped down so many pant sizes. Like it was hard, like trying to have a wardrobe during
Mhm.
those year and a half. But yeah, not everyone loses weight as fast as I did, but yeah, it uh, came across overall pretty quickly, I say.
Mhm. Now, what other bit of advice might you have for someone, right now struggling with weight like big time?
I mean, I would consider weight loss surgery.
Yeah.
It's yeah, if you have the insurance and everything. It's I know so many people who've had the surgery and they lose the weight and if they follow like their doctor's guidelines and they don't let their stomach stretch out, it is a good long-term tool that and way to lose the weight and keep it off. And um yeah, that's what I would do. I mean, you can try diet alone. I've done keto diet and that works. So if
Mhm.
they're looking at trying to like not uh do surgery, keto diet's great. I have I don't love it because it's not a lifestyle change for me. So that's why, like I said earlier, I think I'm gonna switch to Weight Watchers as a maintenance phase for me. But yeah, so I think just overall, you just have to make up your mind and like if you like and do something about it because
Mhm.
it that overall, yeah, that's what I would tell them is like, if you want to change something about yourself and you need to do it. Like no one else
Right.
will, you know?
Definitely. Yeah, you can't wait out the clock on that because the pounds come quicker than especially as you get older, right? They just kind of stack on quicker.
Yeah.
Um Now, I was really, really kind of interested to see how your weight loss led to, like news coverage, right? Because, like I mentioned, as we started our conversation, uh, people love a good, inspirational weight loss story, and you'll see like viral videos online, like, like they have like the pro wrestler DDP, he has his DDP yoga um a series where uh, they've had like viral videos of like the ex paratrooper who was paralyzed and super overweight. He couldn't even walk, and he does DDP yoga, and he loses like hundreds of pounds, and now all of a sudden he's running, right? And he has a couple of videos like that have gone viral. How did you get the attention of media, and how did that turn into a news story?
So I actually was on, I don't know if you heard of Reddit. I made a weight loss. I was on this Reddit page and I posted my weight loss before and after pic.
Mm,
And a journalist uh, direct messaged me saying he wanted to write an article about me. So he
mm,
wrote an article and he said, it will most likely get picked up by the Daily Mail. And he said it may be picked up by Fox News, but I can't guarantee. And after it got picked up by the Daily Mail, that day, Fox News reporter direct messaged me on Instagram.
wow.
And then the other ones around the world, like they never message me. I Google my name and there I see a news story and I can't read what it's about, but it's in a, yeah, like Vietnamese post and uh, from Nigeria. So
Mhm.
it just kind of, that's how it all started and went from there.
Now you kept the log on your weight loss on Reddit. Did you have it like on social media like Instagram or anything like that as well? Or
Yeah, I
um,
did. I would make posts on Facebook and Instagram and stuff
did you
like
have
a
a
before.
decent following for that?
I'm not huge. I'm still growing my following and stuff. That definitely helped.
Hmm. What was that experience like with? I mean, I suppose Fox News was like the biggest outlet that covered your story, right? What was that experience like?
I mean, it was crazy. I was like, wow, I didn't, they did such an amazing job too on the way they told my story. I was really pleased with it. And like, I kind of was like, when I told people, they're like, wait, Fox is featuring you on their front page? I'm like, yeah. And it was just crazy seeing it. I didn't read the comments from my news story because people
Yeah,
like
they're
can
cruel.
be, they are cruel. So I still, not to this day, I don't know what they said, but I refuse to read it. But
Uh-huh.
um yeah, I don't know, like all my family members, like my grandma and my Papa Gano and Aunt Myra were super thrilled about it. And so were my parents and everyone.
Nice. All right. Now, what did that lead to you kind of getting into the world of modeling, or is that somewhere? Is that another story?
Yeah, that's like a different story. I started modeling like 2 years ago and yeah, I just do that on the side for fun. I earn an income. Sometimes I do paid gigs and stuff, and um, I just gone to a couple agencies, so I just do that on the side. Just so happens I had the weight loss surgery. I actually, what I really want, I hope to be is, it's not like my all time goal, um, my career goal, you could say, but I would love to be like one of a really well known model who've had be one of the first who had weight loss surgery. Because
Mhm.
I don't think there's really any big time model out there that had weight loss surgery or
Right.
loss.
And
Yeah,
if they did, you don't hear about it,
yeah,
right?
right.
You definitely don't hear about it. I mean, before you got into modeling, right? Is that something that you would have considered like at a bigger size?
I kind of wish I tried doing it at a bigger size because, you know, I just I don't have that many photos of me when I was overweight, and I just hate my photo getting taken when I was that size.
Mm.
So, um, I don't know. I just think like when looking back, I wish I had done some modeling opportunities when I was that size. But I don't know. I just didn't really like have the confidence really to pursue that then.
Hmm. Um, Now, as far as you know, how comfortable you are, right? You've gone through a transformation. I know even just people in general. There everybody has something they don't like about themselves physically, right? How comfortable are you in front of the camera and maybe kind of like I guess like exposing any flaws you might be insecure about, or is that not really on your mind when you're doing the whole modeling thing?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I guess I'm getting more comfortable the more I talk. Like, 'cause I've had like a handful of interviews, like, and I'm getting like the more I do it, the more comfortable I get.
Right.
So I just like sharing my story and um struggles, and I hope that there's other people that that can relate, and I just hope that my story could help them somehow.
Right.
And know they're not alone.
Hmm. I mean, the reason I ask that is because there's like this perception that, like the modeling world is kind of sort of toxic, right? And so, I mean, it may be, but have you experienced any of that at all, or has it been kind of a good experience, or what have you experienced in modeling so far?
I feel like a lot of the agencies I try to apply to, they're so very much they want either like young, like early 20s. A lot of them are like you have to be 5'7" or taller, which so we're still like there's not that many petite models out there.
Hmm.
There just isn't like I and so that's hard. Give in my age, I'm not super young, so that hurts me. But I find more when I try to apply to agencies, I don't meet the height requirement. So I
Hmm.
think that's just like not fair to like rule any model out just based on their height. So
Hmm.
I still think like that's a form of discrimination. I feel like all
Right.
modeling agencies like, but yeah. So that there's that. As far as like weight goes, I feel like a lot of I'll never do runway. Like I'm not short enough, I'm not skinny enough, but or I'm not tall
Hmm.
enough, I'm not skinny enough. But I feel like for the most part, um, there are a lot of agencies and photographers out there wanting to shoot all sizes and shapes, and but I
Hmm.
still think the modeling agency industry has a lot to improve on.
Yeah, because you look at ads nowadays on TV, online. We don't really have like I don't really know anybody who reads magazines anymore, but people are now, I think, for the most part, represented as more normal people. I think you see a lot more of that at least. I think if you're looking back at like the '90s or something like that, you're looking at the blonde with no body fat, and perfect everything, right? But I think nowadays it's a little more realistic, but um I don't know. I mean, am I just kind of looking at it through like an optimistic lens, or do you feel that's the case too?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of those people you see, like I don't know, they've had a big break or something because I have a lot of friends out there who are models trying to like get um you know as, on a print magazine or whatever, and it's harder than it seems to get like signed one of those gigs. So
Hmm.
it's like yes, you're right in a sense that they are like you said, it's no longer the really skinny blondes anymore. There are like wanting models of all shapes and sizes, but to get land one of those gigs is actually really hard.
Hmm.
So unless you know someone or you've been in the industry, but there's a lot of people wanting those jobs. So
Hmm.
yeah.
What would be some of your biggest goals for modeling?
I would just love to do a print ad, I think. To do because like that's the type of modeling I'm going for is like commercial print. So or like do a commercial or something. it's not my like career aspirations, but it's just something that I would love to like be a part of. I would love to be a part of a like body love commercial or something, or ad, or um even an ad like promoting weight loss surgery or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, something that you've lived through, right?
Yeah.
Now I wanted to kind of, pivot a little bit toward, you mentioned having some pretty cool internships, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you said one was on Capitol Hill and the other was where?
On Capitol Hill.
Oh,
They're
both of them. Both of
yeah.
them. Okay. How's that experience? I mean, was that as a, like, does that tie into any of this story, or is that just something you kind of had like a separate deal?
It's kind of like a separate deal. It was weird during COVID because like no one was there, but
Right.
for the most part, yeah, it was just a way of me getting great experience. Like I want my career to be in federal government, so that's why those internships really help open some doors for me. So yeah, I thought, yeah, I learned a lot from those.
Is it kind of like, like we see in the news, like how volatile politics has been recently, right? Do you kind of get that feel like sitting in those buildings, or is it, relatively calm and not as volatile as you see on TV?
Yeah, it's pretty calm for the most part. Like it's nothing like what happened recently. Like I'm so glad I wasn't there. Everyone was calling me saying, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm safe." But yeah, besides that, it's pretty calm atmosphere there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I'm like, man, I wonder if they're just kind of like, as crazy as we think they are, or if there's like constant protests or anything around there or anything like that. But
No.
no, just business as usual.
Yeah, I never came across any protests or anything like that.
Well, I mean, that's a good thing then, because we don't want to see those insurrections going on daily or anything like that.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I want to now, see if there's, any social media, any other projects, any businesses that you want to promote.
Yeah, sure. So you can follow me at my Instagram at tay_transformation. I'm in the process of getting a certification in bariatric counseling that's specifically for weight loss surgery. So I want to be a coach for weight loss people considering weight loss surgery or having it or post surgery. Um, so yeah, just coach them. That I'm also wanting to become a life coach as well. So I have a website as well. It's a work in progress, but you can still visit it. It's also taytaytransformation.com. And also a great place to buy some really great nutritious food, and like really high protein, low carb food, and just organic in general. It's called Bariatric Pal, and if you use my discount code TayTay15 all caps, you get 15% off all discount, or 15% off all products. So yeah.
They deliver?
Oh yeah, they deliver. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I mean, anything else you'd like to, throw out there or share before we close out?
No, none I can think of.
Well, I mean, I really appreciate having you on. I think there's a lot of good info, you threw out there. And if people are considering this surgery, I hope that info helped them make up their mind. But yeah, definitely enjoyed having you on. I appreciate it. For everybody listening at home, thank you. Fuck you and good night. Subscribe to the Ignorance is Strength podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Like, follow, and share on Facebook and Instagram at Ignorance is Strength Podcast, and on Twitter at The Ignorance Pod.